Hello and welcome again to Hypnosis Today, where we explore how people are using hypnosis to achieve remarkable things. If you've just joined us, we have two very special guests today. We have Liat and we have Micah. Now, Liat Artzi is an honors graduate of HMI's College of Hypnotherapy. She is also an expert on relationship strategies, EvesvesP Attraction. Now, this is a philosophy and a book by Dr. John Kappas. Today, my other very special guest is Micah, and he came to Liat as a client to learn about relationship strategies. Now, Micah, my first question is for you. When we think about relationship strategies or relationship issues, we usually don't think of hypnotherapy. What made you think of coming to see Liat for hypnotherapy?
I met Liat through a gentleman I work with, her fiance, and after going through traditional therapy for a while, because I was trying to figure out why every relationship ended in the same way, not together.
Yes.
I'm getting older. I was wondering kind of what the issue was. So I put it on myself and wasn't really getting anywhere with the traditional way. So when I met Liat, I was very interested and came to after that.
Now, when you talked to Micah using the EvesvesP strategies, what did you figure out was going on and why there was a pattern here?
Well, we basically figured out there's the emotional and the physical, which we figured out that he kind of had this defense. So he was going for the same type of woman and ending up kind of just like friends and nothing really happening, which in this book you can relate to that as two emotionals because he had the physical defense.
For those of us who are not that familiar with Dr. Kappas's philosophy, you use the term emotional and physical. Can you tell us a little bit about the two different types?
Physical, their number one priority is relationship, where you have the emotional, their number one priority is career. It doesn't mean they love the person any less, it's just they're more logical and they look at it like, before I have a relationship, I need a career, and then usually they'll have a hobby because they need the hobby to take away the stress of the career, and then they can have the relationship.
Now, Micah, when you've heard theories like this, it used to be that one gender was one and one gender was another. Can you speak to that a little bit, Liat, about some of the things that are out there that tell us that it's better if one gender is one thing?
You see dating shows and you see a lot of books out there that it's men versus women, and some dating shows out there, they usually will portray the usual male as the typical physical male, meaning, you have to be this kind of macho, outgoing guy that wines and dines your woman and makes the plans, where it kind of downplays what the emotional men are out there. They kind of feel maybe there's something wrong with me.
Did you find that if you weren't the typical guy who's supposed to be out there making all the plans, really interested in sex and relationships all the time, that there was something that just wasn't quite right?
The first session we had an in-depth conversation about this, and it instantly made sense. It was right away, because I am very logical and everything is very structured, and I was always basically not pretending, but as she calls it, a physical defense. I was out there and being open, but that's not me. So when the relationship would settle down after the first 4, 5, 6 months, that's when issues would arise constantly. So
the first thing is, with Liat, you got permission to be exactly who you were. Did you learn what type of woman that it was best to begin to pursue and perhaps get into a relationship with?
I did, and it was really good timing because I had just started dating within the 6 months prior to that, an absolute physical woman, in all sense of the words.
So what kind of issues came up between an emotional, very, very logical, priority is work, and a physical who loves relationships and spontaneity and can be really very affectionate? Did any issues come up?
We never had an issue with affection. We'd have issues with, she's a social butterfly, loved to be out all the time, loves her friends, and I'm perfectly fine by myself on the couch.
So we have someone who's a social butterfly. We have someone who wants to be on the couch. What did you teach Micah about how we can integrate these two very different personality types?
Well, basically, we kind of I taught him that you can give and take and give each other certain things You know, for instance, he might not feel comfortable going to these social events. She needs to be understanding, but he can try it out and give her that comfort, just like she might give him comfort in other areas, you know, and accept him.
That brings us to our biggest question that I know that everybody else has on his or her mind. How can you possibly do relationship strategies with someone in a relationship when you only got one person in your office?
Basically, you educate the one person on, you know, the physical and the emotional and what's acceptable, because a lot of arguments that arise are probably from the fact that people aren't accepting who they're with and they want them to change. Mm-hmm. Once you accept it and not take things personally, you can go home and educate your other half and teach them, you know, what you learned and what's acceptable.
Did you implement that? Did you talk to your...
Yeah, absolutely.
What did she have to say about this whole philosophy?
She was very understanding. It actually made a lot of sense. Our only fights would occur every time we were going to have a social setting, whether it be a barbecue or we're going to a birthday party or something, and it would always come from me. And I never, it was...
You'd start a fight?
Yeah, without even realizing that I was doing it.
Because you didn't want to go.
Exactly.
And then you can go stomp off in a huff, and then you don't have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this brings me to my favorite philosophy and my favorite technique in this book, that of giving your partner a Twinkie. Liat, can you explain what that is?
Basically, it's being able to give your partner something that they need.
That nurtures their priority.
That nurtures their priority, that gives them a sense of love. Everybody has a different definition of what that is. So it's give and take, it's compromise.
Great. So if you're an emotional and you want to give your physical, who's a social butterfly, a Twinkie, can you give me an example of a Twinkie you gave her and how it worked?
About 3 weeks ago, it was one of her friends was having a barbecue. She does it every other month or so. And she wasn't even going to invite me this time because I always say no or we get into a tiff or something. And so she came home and she was telling me she was going on Saturday, it was Friday, with another friend. And I said, hon, how come you didn't invite me? And she's like, well, you never want to go. I didn't want to fight about it. And I said, well, that's what I'm working on now. That's one of those things I want to do with you. So is it okay if I go with you this time?
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. What did she say?
She looked like you just looked. Oh my goodness.
I like it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, one of the things that happens is we lead by example. You gave her a Twinkie, you went out and went to that social thing, and I gotta ask, that sounds a little scary. How was it at the barbecue? Have you already gone, or is it this weekend?
Yeah, no, we already went.
How was it for you?
It was wonderful. She was happy as heck all the whole day. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And understanding your love of logic and reason and the couch. Has she ever given you a Twinkie?
Daily. One of the things very important to me is the gym. It's my alone time. I don't talk to anyone when I'm there. It's headphones in. And so it's not only does she never try to not make me go, like, honey, just stay home tonight. She'll actually, if I'm being lazy that day, she'll force me out because she knows it's very important to me. So it's a daily Twinkie I get.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did you teach him about these Twinkies, or did you teach him the philosophy and he was able to extrapolate himself?
I taught him about the philosophy. I think it just came naturally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And do you mostly work with relationship strategies in your office?
That is kind of my niche, so yeah, I would say yes.
Yes. Liat, you're a hypnotherapist and so am I, and we can read books and get knowledge, but how do we use hypnosis to get past, you know, the logic and reason and get these behaviors that are so ingrained into the subconscious mind with hypnosis?
Well, we can use with Micah, for instance, we use something like, we realized he was an emotional underneath with his physical defense, so we realized he wanted to build more confidence underneath before he can go out there and go to these barbecues and feel comfortable. So we did some confidence building with guided imagery, and that's really helped him.
Did you like the hypnosis part of each session?
I love the hypnosis part.
What was the best part for you?
The imagery is something new every time.
Yes.
So it's whatever she's having me visualize, I actually can get there very quickly. So it's very helpful, whether it's, we actually did a small inner child session, and it's very unique, and you get to see yourself as you picture yourself in the most confident way.
Yes.
In your own mind, and it's very helpful every time. It's amazing.
So it really helped to reduce the anxiety when you were out doing
Absolutely.
things that are social, but also feel more confident that you're okay just the way that you are.
Yeah, it makes me more confident in asking for things from my significant other, or being there for her in the way she needs me as well.
Well, Micah, I have the question that's burning on everybody's mind. Now that you've learned about E&P philosophy, now that you've changed your patterns, do you have any plans with this relationship that you're currently in?
Absolutely. The understanding that I have now of the two different, the E and the P, has really given me the opportunity to grow individually and with her. So we're looking very long term now, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. Well, I want to thank Micah, and I want to thank Liat Artzi. And if you would like to learn more about relationship strategies and contact Liat, it's at hmigrads.com. If you would like to learn more about relationship strategies, E&P attraction, go to testmyrelationship.com. Thank you so much. It appears that we are out of time for today. I want to thank everybody in the studio audience and everyone at home for watching the show. My name is Lisa Machenberg, and I hope you will join us next time when we meet more people and explore how they are using hypnosis today. Hello and welcome again to Hypnosis Today, where we explore how people are using hypnosis to achieve remarkable things. If you've just joined us, we have two very special guests today. We have Liat and we have Micah. Now, Liat Artzi is an honors graduate of HMI's College of Hypnotherapy. She is also an expert on relationship strategies, E&P attraction. Now, this is a philosophy and a book by Dr. John. Issues, we usually don't think of hypnotherapy. What made you think of coming to see Liat for hypnotherapy?
I met Liat through a gentleman I work with, her fiance, and after going through traditional therapy for a while, because I was trying.
Today, my other very special guest is Micah, and he came to Liat as a client to learn about relationship strategies. Now, Micah, my first question is for you. When we think about relationship strategies or relationship